Yes, yes, yeah. You are tuned in to Offering Something. I am your host, Michael Bernier. Feeling so good to be alive. You know that is the truth. And you know I love you for tuning into the show. You are so wonderful. I also have a whole lot of love for our sponsors at Enjoy Your Life brand, New Balance, Rockport Brewing Company, and CNA Stores. Yeah. Oh, by golly. Seated next to me today, a founding member of the world-famous Santana Band, the first Latin percussionist in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the man who made the conga drums rock and roll, Mr. Michael Carabello.
Woo. All right.
Yeah. Nice. Jonny Deups is in the room today. Love you. How you feeling, buddy?
Feeling so good, Mike.
Yeah. Phall Roots looking fantastic. How you doing?
Michael. I am doing great, man.
It's nice to see you.
Great to be seen.
On the switcher over there, Burger Snaps. How you doing, buddy?
Burger.
Yeah. And Scott Winters from CNA Stores is in the back of the room behind the scenes. Woo. It's a full house and a good day. All right. How you feeling, Michael?
Great. Or as they say, perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Is everyone saying perfect?
No, just me right now.
Yeah. I like it. Let's dig right in. I love this question. People who watch the show know. Where did you come out of your mother's womb and take your first breath of air in this world?
1947. November 18th, 1947. I'm a Scorpio.
Easy now. But where were we on the planet?
San Francisco.
Okay.
San Francisco, California. A place called Double Rock, which is now called Hunters Point.
Okay.
But really, my family was from North Beach in San Francisco, which is a very Italiano kind of district. But
a lot of sauce, meatballs, kid.
all the stuff, like linguine and clams, the whole kind of thing there. But my grandfather was a merchant marine, and most of the merchant marines that went out in those days had to live by the water or somewhere in the port, like Newbury Port.
Okay.
No pun intended. So that's how he met my grandmother. My grandfather was Spanish. My grandmother was from Ponce, Puerto Rico. So I'm Spanish and Puerto Rican. Had a lot of music and a lot of excitement around me, but back in those days, there was a lot of people that landed in North Beach, and most of them were Italians and Portuguese and Puerto Ricans, I guess. I mean, that's the kind of thing that happened. So it was a very Interpol kind of thing.
Give me your household first. You have brothers, sisters?
No, I'm an only child.
You're an only child.
Okay.
Yeah, I can tell you're a little wild, yeah. I can tell.
Only child.
I can.
Big family.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those people around, aunts, uncles, you were dancing? Salsa, merengue?
No, not so much because I lived with my grandmother and my mom and a couple of cousins who I ended up calling uncles because I was so small.
That's
They
how it
looked
works,
like
yeah.
uncles to me, but they were really cousins. But the thing is my grandmother had a chicken farm.
Okay.
And the chicken farm, you know where I'm going with this. Right? Okay, so my grandmother had a chicken farm with goats and whatnot, right? And they would always tell me, don't go downstairs. Don't go downstairs in this room. It's under the house. And I'm going, well, of course.
That's where I'm going.
Right? So
I'm in.
So come to find out that my grandmother had this chicken farm because they did a lot of Santero stuff there, which was a religion in the Puerto Rican thing. I don't know if you've ever seen.
Like sacrificing goats situation?
No, chickens.
Chickens.
Yeah.
I've heard of this. I've known some people.
So anyway, there's a whole thing about that with percussion. I don't know if you know that, but there's a whole thing.
Like playing hand drums while sacrificing animals?
While they sacrifice this thing, they talk to the spirits. I mean, that's where a lot of the, when the Spanish came to Puerto Rico and took over, the islands and stuff, they made them stop doing all that stuff because they thought it was voodoo.
Voodoo.
So they found a way to keep playing their drums, and that's where the cajon comes in, which
Yeah.
is a box.
Yeah.
Because they took away all their drums.
That's the origination?
It's the origination.
Really?
So
The origin? Is that a better way to say that?
Origin.
that kind of music was kind of so much, how could I say, it's what I heard growing up.
Yeah.
Um,
So when did you first start playing hand percussion?
Well, I didn't start until after junior high school, which is called middle school now.
Right.
And a friend of mine was playing one day, but I was raised around a lot of 50s music. Neil Sedaka, people like that had these great love songs. But you got to remember, man, there was no bass player in some of those in the doo-wop thing. There was a guy going do-do-boom, do-do-boom, sha-na-na-bop, and all those kind of things. So
Yeah.
I got my groove kind of from that, but I think as years went on, the Latin thing didn't excite me at all.
No.
It just never pushed my button. But the doo-wop thing in the 50s, because of that, for some reason, there was a conga drum in there every once in a while somewhere. Yeah, exactly. Doo-doo, right, kind of thing. So, I mean, even from Little Anthony and the Imperials, I mean, Smokey Robinson, Dion and the Belmonts, I mean, there was all this great stuff that there wasn't a bass player, man. It was mostly vocals.
Yeah.
So I grew up around that.
Accurate.
And at the same time, the whole rhythm thing kind of took me. And like I said, I wasn't into Latin music. For some reason, I happened to be at the right place at the right time to evolve myself into doing that my way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't come.
There was no schooling.
I don't come from a folklorico conga player, man. Of all this, the Los Mañaquitos and Tata Guini. These are all like master drummers, man.
Yeah.
Even Armando Peraza, man. Kind of thing. There's a way of playing that, and there's a way of just keeping the rhythm.
Right.
I'm a rhythm keeper, man. You know what I mean? It's just like, man, this is all I'm going to do. Don't look for me for solos, dude. That ain't going to happen. Unless I have the right element next to me that I can open up, because I don't read very little counting because it comes from inside.
Yeah.
But with that, and trying to make this a little shorter, I got my gig back with Santana when the conga player Marcos Malone got in trouble.
So we're in San Francisco at this time?
San Francisco. We're
Okay.
still in San Francisco.
Okay.
But,
When?
I don't remember the years.
You don't remember?
But anyway, I got my gig back and started in Santana or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So along with that, I brought Chipito, who was the timbale player. And nobody even knew what timbales were.
That's
So
right.
I kind of brought a sense of a rhythm section together to a blues band.
So two
Really
things
cool.
here. One, when did you first meet Santana? Like, how did that come to
I
be?
met him in high
Paint me the
school.
picture.
I met him in high school through
Yeah.
a friend of mine. Yeah.
And
Playing
what happened there? How did you first start playing music together?
We kind of met, and she said, well, this guy plays a conga drum, not conga drum, just
Yeah.
a conga drum. And Carlos was playing blues back then. He was a rhythm guitar player. He wasn't a solo guitar player yet.
Right.
So anyway, we met, and that went off the charts, and I went with a friend of mine, and I remember this day till the day I die. A friend of mine went to somebody's house to score some pot.
Yeah.
Okay, and I went like, oh, this is
Typical.
cool, right? So
This isn't
and
the
he
beat
just passed
generation
away.
now.
His name is Rich Velasquez. Anyway, he just passed away. So we went up there, and I'm up there with another guy that became our manager named Stan Markham and Ron Estrada. So we go up there, and there's a band. I can't remember their name right now, but there was a band up there playing, and all of a sudden, Carlos walks in. And they start playing, and they're auditioning him.
Yeah.
Okay, and I look at my friend, and I went, excuse my language, but not really. Holy fuck, I just blew it. And my friend goes, what are you talking about, man? He said, he plays with my friends. I went, shut up, man. He plays on Thursday night with friends of mine that are Mexican, and, I'll see if we can, make you sit in.
Ooh.
So
inside
anyway, he
angle.
didn't pass the audition because that wasn't his kind of thing. So we got together. I asked him, could I bring my conga drum down? Long story short, he let me bring my conga drum down, and I sat in with him and another drummer and a bass player. There wasn't a keyboard player yet there or anything. And one night, Carlos asked me out of nowhere, and this is meeting him from high school.
Yep.
Says, man, we're going to go check out this keyboard player at the Longshoremen's Hall in San Francisco. And we're smoking pot or whatever, like get down there and stuff. And it's a battle of the bands kind of thing. So here comes this band, and they're called William Penn and his pals, which was a takeoff on Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Yeah.
And Greg Raleigh was the keyboard player, right? And he looked at me and he said, what do you think? I said, and I really didn't know, right, because he was playing a Farfisa. And I said, long as we don't have to wear those uniforms. You know what I think? So we invited him to the band, and he kind of brought another element with the B3 because he was in the Jimmy Smith.
Yeah, playing the Hammond, yeah.
Basically, Carlos was a rhythm guitar player at that time, kind of thing. But I had heard something else from the transition, from staying up late at night listening to a radio station called K-Jazz that was on from 1 o'clock in the morning till 7.
Yep.
And I'm supposed to be sleeping because I got to go to school the next day. Right? So I heard all
sleep
these
for Mikey.
groups, man. And one of them happened to be Gabor Szabo.
Yep.
And I thought to myself, man, this is really different, man, kind of thing. And for some reason, when Carlos started playing, and I know he was a rhythm guitar player, I was going, there's something else, man. There's something else going on there. What is it, man? He sounded to me like Gabor Szabo, or he can do that.
You saw it.
I heard it.
You heard it.
I heard it.
Pardon me.
We all hear differently, man. If you don't hear something, it means you don't hear it the same way I hear it. It's not a sin, kind of thing. So anyway, with that, here I bring in Chipito in the band, and the drummer that they had to be dismissed.
Yeah, that's quite a story there.
He didn't know how to play with a percussion section.
He wasn't leaving any space for you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's a lot of holes, as you see,
yes,
in the early Santana stuff. And all those holes are meant, and all those spaces are meant not to fucking play in. And it'll just come out. So Carlos becomes this not just this, rhythm guitar player, he becomes taking charge because Greg is teaching him how to stay here this many bars and how to do this and that. But he had this beautiful tone and flavor of doing something. So my first thought was like, he's got to hear Gabor Szabo. He's got to hear this. He's got to hear this.
Yeah.
So a friend of his and mine, we brought him the album, and we were telling him, man, you're just gonna
mind blown,
die after hearing this guy, whatever, kind of thing. So he heard it, man, and I guess he heard himself, and we kind of evolved that sound into the Santana Blues Band. So basically, I think, and to this day, I think there was 2 bands in Santana. There was the Greg Raleigh, Carlos Santana, Michael Shreve's band.
Yep.
Then there was the David Brown, Chipito, and Michael Carabello band.
Which is clearly a different thing.
The rhythm section.
Yeah.
But if you don't try to mix those and cause chaos and a lot of
disrupt the traditional process,
you ain't gonna get the fire, man.
Yeah. What is the songwriting process for this band at that time?
At that time, we were a jam band.
It's like the San Francisco sound?
No, because then you have, the Jefferson Airplane and Quicksilver and which were great bands.
Yeah.
And the Grateful Dead.
That's now you're talking my language, Michael.
Who I played with also. So
sick.
The thing is we were bringing something in that was a blues band that just went to somewhere else. We obviously didn't know what we were doing.
Right.
But we accepted each other, and there was a lot of fighting and a lot of hissing and a lot of this and that. But I got to tell you, it's just like a relationship or a marriage or a business, man. At some point, can you just shut the fuck up and play?
Yeah. A lot of people need to hear that. Can you say that one more time, Michael?
You need to shut the fuck up and just play. We're here to play. We're not
Don't
here
forget.
to criticize one another or go into therapy.
You are there to play, especially when you're on the stage. It's playtime.
So it basically, it basically comes down to the rhythm section against people who are trying to learn how to play what chord this is in and how many bars you fucking play in, But all of us didn't know anything. I think we went to the school of creativity. So we played off of one another.
Yeah.
You look at Carlos back in those days, his back is to the audience, dude.
Oh,
He can give a
he's
fuck
like the
what's
early
going
Jim
on.
Morrison.
He wasn't letting them in.
He's so into what he's playing,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
If you look at a lot of those shots and whatnot, those are all about writing and what we can do for one another. And I swear to God, there were times you go, no, don't do that, Phil.
That's not it.
That's a guitar fill. And we're not going to tell it to be a guitar fill. When he feels that, he'll go there.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of Gabor stuff,
Yeah.
Gabor Szabo stuff, man, with Gypsy Queen.
Yeah.
And Black Magic Woman went into Gypsy Queen, Singing Winds and Crying Beasts, what me and Greg Raleigh wrote, and Michael Shreves went into Black Magic Woman, then went into Gypsy Queen.
Yeah.
So we were always kind of set up a mood,
Yeah.
as opposed to here's a song. What's the other side sound like? Why do you even give a fuck? You're supposed to take these people on a, no pun intended,
Jam.
journey.
Yeah, for sure.
Close
Roller
your
coaster
eyes
ride.
and listen to this.
Yeah.
This is where it's coming from. But the sound originated from a lot of different personalities and a lot of different people's nationalities.
Yeah.
And
It
what
was
they
a
listened to.
diverse band in that sense.
A team.
A team.
A team, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I always look at music and putting bands together and projects together, which we are going to do something. Is that I look at it as a baseball team, and I have to challenge myself. The third baseman ain't happening, dude. We need to get rid of him. What are you talking about?
Shit. Cutthroat.
You know what?
Let's go.
The third baseman ain't working because the second baseman can't connect with him, or the first baseman,
You're
or the
jiving.
shortstop. So what does that mean? It means you get somebody that's really, really good, and it's going to be a challenge because they're better than you. But what's
Rise
gonna
up.
happen? So it was always
The whole
a
team
challenge.
rises up.
It's a team process. It's not
They
like this is my band.
as
I'm the
individuals.
best guy in the band and whatever. A lot of credit has to go to Chipito. I have to tell you that for being such an extraordinary musician.
Chipito.
Not only did he play timbales, he played horn, he played bass, he played guitar, he played keyboards, he did all of that.
Did all
sat
of it.
back there. And if you look at the videos, it was always him, to go to the next change.
Oh.
No.
You don't know where we're at. He's
Yeah.
like, he
So-
knows the
Doctor.
structure. We don't even know there is a structure.
Yeah, so
it's just a whistle.
I've been there before.
Yeah, so I more or less,
Where are we?
more or less brought him into the band because I wanted to sound like Gabor Szabo's rhythm section, which was Chico Hamilton, Willie Bobo, Victor Pantoja, my idol, which was the conga player.
Yeah.
So I was able to do that somehow without showing a plan or telling anybody.
Yeah. But I've heard Carlos publicly state, like on stage many times, like give you credit for opening up his realm. So he's not in his words, a one-trick pony because
Right.
Michael Carabello over here introduced me to this whole other world
Right.
of music.
Right.
And yeah, so
Thank you so much for recognizing that. It's a very true part of the band. But, at the same time, and you've said this when we talked today, it's about teamwork, man. It's not about anything else. And,
Are you self-taught?
pardon me?
Are you self-taught?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's a funny story because I've taken some lessons and it just didn't work. And watch this. Like I told you, I didn't hear it. My hands didn't hear it. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm an ambidextrous. I'm not left-handed or right-handed. I write left-handed, but when I'm hearing something, I'm hearing it from this way and this head. So it doesn't matter if I go boom, boom, pop. I can do this. Kind of thing. So
Yeah.
you kind of like walk yourself through it. But how could I say, when you're working with other musicians that have a gift, as you know as a musician,
yeah.
you want to be in a place where you can feed off of one another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a
100%
Yes.
connected, head up.
connect. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I was like a
That'll get me.
a baseball addict, and I tell you, and I played baseball up until I was 40 years old.
Yep.
Okay,
What's your position on the diamond?
Shortstop.
Oh, he's holding it down.
But man, here
dirty.
I'm playing with guys that I grew up with that are from North Beach, from the Joe DiMaggio playground that lived in North Beach and whatever, that were great players in high school, right? So we got together on a 40-year-old league, right? And you're going to love this, okay?
I'm ready to love it.
Okay, well, watch this. So you know how some people will, they'll go like this and make a double play, throw it to the second baseman, the second baseman will throw it to the first. So my friend, okay, asshole completely, right? Throws it to the third baseman. The third baseman throws it to the second baseman. The second baseman throws it to the first baseman and still makes the double play.
No way. Rubbing it in.
Because he's playing like this. He's playing like 10 feet from the plate.
Yeah.
If not that. It's just, oh, come on, man, bring it to me. So I put music teams like that together. It's like, come on, man. Let me see what you got.
Yeah.
Let me see what you got.
All right, let's dig into some of these stories about individuals that you've performed with or recorded with over the years.
Yeah.
Because the list is epic. It's icons. First, what's the connection to Jimi Hendrix? What happened there?
No way.
Jimi Hendrix and I became friends from some of the girls that hung out with him. Back then, they used to call them groupies.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, but at the same time, I got to tell you, some of these girls worked at the Playboy Club.
Oh, yeah.
Back then, they were great models and whatnot, and I guess it comes with the environment. Back then, they were hanging out with Led Zeppelin and
Sick.
the Stones and everybody else, kind of thing. But when you came to New York, if somebody was interested and wanted to spy on you, they would send the chicks out there for you.
Yeah.
And of course, they got all the information. So Miles was good at that. Miles Davis.
So roll into Miles Davis. You ended up actually recording an album with him?
We did a thing when I was hanging out with Jimmy. Jimmy was more or less kind of discouraged with his career at that point. And he was telling me, he says, how do you guys get away with playing new stuff and the audience doesn't do anything? They don't get mad. He says, every time if I'm playing something and I want to play something new, they want to hear Purple Haze.
Yeah.
They want to play. And he says, I am so sick of doing that. He said, I can't move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he really liked us for that reason. But the stuff that we did before we put it out was, before we put it out, we would play at a gig and throw a new song here and there.
Yeah.
So they didn't even know that what we were doing. But we were setting people up for the next album and stuff. Jimmy got to a point where he was just discouraged with
commercial
what had become of him and being used at that. There's a whole political mafia thing behind it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And his manager was from the Animals.
Yeah, Eric Burden, was it right?
No. Chris Chandler.
Oh, he was the bass player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
And then it goes on to more than that. But getting back to the story, so at the time we had done a gig at Fillmore East, and it's been up all frickin' night. And
What are you doing up all night?
Oh, well, what do you think?
In your words, what is happening?
Coca-Cola. So anyway,
I hope not, because that would have long-term effects.
So at 5 o'clock in the morning, one of our roadies picks us. He just knocks on the thing. He said, "Hey, man, Jimmy wants you guys to come in and record it." I haven't slept. He said, fuck that. It doesn't matter. Get in the cab. We go down, and we go in the studio, and it's me and Chipito, and we play on some tracks that Buddy Miles is playing drums on.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name. The bass player, not Noel Redding. Billy Cox.
Billy Cox.
Right? So here's an album that they're getting ready to do with Miles Davis. This was a whole group coming together. So those tracks never came out. Never came out.
Do
So
you
there
have
was a
them
band
anyway?
that
Do you have
anyway-
access
Pardon
to
me?
them?
Do you have these tracks?
No, man, they've disappeared. They've disappeared. They're in a book they talk about, but this guy Alan Douglas took them with
Damn.
him, and Alan Douglas was one of the engineers with
Yeah.
with
Alan's
Eddie
got the
Kramer.
goods.
Eddie Kramer, who was Jimmy's engineer guy.
Yeah.
But
All
anyway,
right.
those have disappeared. So there was a group coming ready to go out. So that was
Wow.
my
You were
Miles
going to
Davis,
be in the
Jimi
Hendrix
story.
group
Very cool.
with Chapito.
with Chapito,
Yeah.
Jimi
and Buddy
Hendrix.
Miles.
What? That's unbelievable.
That's crazy.
That hurts me that never came to the surface.
okay.
Let's go into the Grateful Dead. What happened with you and the Grateful Dead? He can hardly handle this.
Yeah.
He doesn't go a day without dreaming
There's,
of Jerry Garcia and
Yeah.
people-
everything Grateful Dead.
Two
I
options.
don't understand, and it's so weird because the Grateful Dead were a group of some sort. They were more of a family
Yeah.
than anything else. They were into having fun and exploring, right? But nobody realizes that Jerry Garcia is Mexican.
I didn't know that till right now.
No,
Right?
I do.
God,
I do
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And he went to a school in the Excelsior district in San Francisco called Balboa. And I knew Jerry's brother. I can't think of his name right now offhand. But
Was it time?
when the Grateful Dead were doing their whole thing, we opened up for them a couple times.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I think it was in Reno, not Las Vegas. We played out in a parking lot of some sort. Somebody gave a gig. And our manager says, do not watch. Do not drink anything that's Coca-Cola or eat a sandwich or anything because you're going to get dosed.
Don't touch the
Well, of course, somebody did. And they had just played.
Toast.
They had just played the Playboy Mansion. I think it was a month before that or something.
Late
And they
night.
dosed the whole.
They
film
dosed the whole party, right?
No, the whole film crew. Not even the people at the whole film crew. So they didn't know what they were doing.
That's fucked.
We go back a long ways, and then they started doing gigs out at San Francisco, out at the beach where all the surfers hung out at.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name, but we put not the whole Santana band, but some of the Santana band, and we did about maybe 7 gigs
Right
at this
on.
place, and it's on YouTube.
Check that out.
Michael, so have you sat down and had conversations with Jerry Garcia?
All we used to say is just hi,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Jerry was very how could I say by himself, quiet,
Yeah.
introverted,
Okay.
kind of thing. Him and Carlos had more conversations than me and him had, kind of thing. And that's probably because of the guitar thing and whatnot.
Right.
But never did kind of hang out with anybody in the Grateful Dead. It was like, hey man, fun. Let's go do that.
This guy's he can't even handle that you have spent time with them. What's the connection with the Rolling Stones?
Rolling Stones.
This is incredible. The Rolling Stones, another one that you're like,
Yeah, I
dying
love
I
hard
was
the
for.
living in New
Stones,
York.
too.
I can't remember the date or the time, but I had did so much in good.
Yep.
Oh, I did so much in San Francisco. I needed to move somewhere and get my career started again.
Yeah.
So my wife back then, named Mimi Sanchez, who has passed away since then, is from San Francisco, and said, you need to go to New York and just try to, do this. So we had just had a daughter. So I had to sacrifice of not watching my young daughter grow up to go to New York. But I
Right.
got to tell you, it's the choices you make in being in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
You get it later if you can remember. But anyway,
I like
so here I
that.
am. I'm living with Michael Shreves at the time. And I was invited to Mick Jagger's wedding when we were in Santana. And he kept, because, watch this, no.
I
he
was
came-
too, but I was wicked busy.
He came to see us. He
busy.
came to see us in Paris with Bianca. That time.
What?
And somebody goes, Mick Jagger's in the audience, and went, whatever. Back then, 'cause we thought
Yeah,
we were hot
Mick.
shit, man.
Yeah.
Back then, and we were.
You were.
So all of a sudden, after the gig, backstage, the whole paparazzi's back there and stuff. Here comes Mick Jagger walking in with Bianca, right? And it's all click, 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 click. And he comes up to me and says, Carlos, what a great show. And I go like this. I'm not Carlos. He said, whatever. More or less. More or less. So somebody took a picture of that picture, okay, of me and him. Mick Jagger meets Carlos. It's in the paper the next day. Okay?
Oh, man.
So the band wasn't too crazy with me at that point. Wow. Kind of thing. But we had partied for a couple of nights and whatnot.
That's great.
And we get back to London. We're on our way back home from our tour that we've been out for maybe 3 months, man. I mean, we toured hard. And I'm getting a call from Mick Jagger. Please come to my wedding. I want you guys to play. I said, dude, these guys want to go home. We've been out here too long. He said, oh, no, I want you guys to come to my wedding, blah, blah. So after the third day of him calling me every day and having his brother call me, I just didn't accept the calls anymore.
He's having his brother
Big Jagger's all over you.
No, I mean, seriously. It's a serious thing.
Bro, leave it alone.
I'm like, okay, so I don't see him for years later. So go back to the story. I'm living in New York with Michael Trees. I come back one of these nights from one of the clubs, whatever, the Breguet Lounge or something.
Yeah.
It's like maybe 10 o'clock at night. Come in, I got a key. I walk into Michael's pad, and there's Mick Jagger sitting there. And I'm going, holy Maloney, right? And I'm thinking, oh, my
Blew his
God, I
dude
dissed
off.
this guy. I didn't call him back.
I blew off
The
Mick
whole
Jagger.
world loves this guy. I'm just ignoring him.
More or less what they call it now, I ghost him.
Yeah, there you go.
Kind of thing.
This guy's
So
ghosting
anyway,
Mick Jagger.
I'm really, I'm impressed. Okay, he's sitting there, they're drinking wine and, doing whatever.
So was it awkward or what? That must have been pretty
It
awkward.
was more awkward for me than them because they'd already had a couple of glasses of wine and, we're moving on to other things.
I was about to say.
Wang
so
dang
I just
doodle.
go like, oh, man, that's cool. He says, we're recording and stuff. And I went like, okay, well, I'm living this. I get a call the next day from Chris Kimsey, who's a famous producer from the Stones. It says, and I'm going to try to mimic this in English. Oh, Mick wants you to come down and play. And I'm going to myself, I'd love to go like, I don't have time. But of course of course I'll come down. I had to pack all 6 of my drums, walk halfway across Manhattan on the west side with my
Sorry,
drums.
Mick.
Guys over here bodying Mick Jagger.
Mick, what is happening here? No car?
What?
No car for you? He didn't have you picked up?
No. New York's not like that.
Okay.
And
Mick Jagger has it like that.
No. you
Shoulda.
don't. Dude, you get a call from them and it's like, what? Are you sure you have the right person?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
So I took my drums one side of the street. There's one case with 3 drums in it. Go back across the street, get the other one with 3 more drums in it. I get to there, go do the recording, and Ronnie's there and Charlie Watts is there, right? And I'm like, pretty cool.
Yeah.
So he's telling me, okay, I want you to play this to it, and I'm going, I don't do that. I don't, man. I mean, if you're
Love
calling
the
me,
idea.
you're calling
Wrong
me, you're
guy.
calling for me because you like the way I play.
Yeah, don't go telling
Yeah.
me
Not
how to
from
play now.
Santana. You like the way I play, hopefully.
Yeah.
So we do the track, and one of the tracks was Waiting on a Friend, right?
Yeah.
We're waiting on a friend.
So I said, let me try this, let me try this my way. So we took My Way, and then we played on Neighbors and Heavenly, and I think something else. Start Me Up. I put a cowbell on that and hand claps.
Oh,
Look
So
at
that was my
on
story
Start
with
Me
them,
Up.
and I was very impressed. And then I hung out with them for about 2 months, and that got a little bit hard.
That leads me to this question. Are you exceptional at the hand clap? Like, how did you get the hand clap role? Just because you're the
there was
percussion
nobody
guy?
else there.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
it blows my mind, Michael, that you have some connection to the human being that is Stevie Wonder.
wow.
Wow.
Craigie.
What is it?
The drummer in Sly and the Family Stone, Greg Enrico.
Yeah.
Sly and the Family Stone is one of the most incredible bands forever. Hung out with them when I was younger and whatnot before I even got back in Santana.
Yeah.
So my friend is the drummer, right? and just a badass, man. 16th notes on the freaking hi-hat and everywhere else, you know.
Yeah.
So Sly asked me a couple of times. He said, "Man, could you come play congas on this?" So I played congas on a few things. They didn't get to the record.
Damn,
Right?
just rolling with
But-
Sly.
But there was a time when Sly and them weren't doing too well on the road. Sly wouldn't show up for gigs or whatever the deal is.
yeah,
So
yeah.
all of a sudden, Greg's at home in California in the Bay Area, and he said, "Man, you're not going to believe this. Stevie Wonder's coming to my house to hang out for 2 weeks." And I'm going, "I'm there."
Yeah, you're like,
I'm
so
in,
am
man.
I,
Don't even
actually.
invite me, man. I'm there, right? So I get there, and I can't believe that Stevie Wonder was just getting ready to do "Sunshine of Your Love" and that whole thing with bump, 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 whatever that song was, right? But we were like taping stuff in Greg's on a freaking cassette while he
Just
was
push and
writing
record
all
and
this
play.
stuff, man.
Yeah.
And I just so happened to be there. I have the reel-to-reels. I mean, from this day of those songs before they went
Was
to
that
mass.
Boogie on Reggae Woman in there?
No, but there's another one. I can't think of what it was. If I heard it,
That would be the
I heard it, I
craziest shit
would
to
know.
listen to.
but you know, Stevie played all the instruments, dude.
Wow.
It was like, you know, once he went into the studio, he would use other guys or whatever. But,
Yeah.
But this is about the time he was with, what is her name, Sarita or Soretta, when they had the daughter. No, that was his wife.
Yeah.
His daughter named Aisha.
Yeah.
Lovely Aisha, whatever that song is. But that was the time of that,
Yeah.
you know, kind of thing. So that's my connection.
Yeah, that's incredible. I got others here, but you got some questions up your tattooed sleeve there?
Yeah, so
Johnny boy?
So you pretty much already said that your favorite sport was baseball, right? Were there any other sports that you were interested in when you were growing up?
Basketball,
Yeah.
but that's about it. I think baseball and basketball gave me a sense of not growing up with a dad.
Yeah. Did you end up going to college?
No.
Doing the college
I'm
thing?
going
No.
like,
No.
He was on tour.
no, but wait a minute. Yeah, I went to street college. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and I went to art college
Okay.
because I hung out with beatniks when I was like 15. And learned,
All right,
In
man.
the
and
streets,
learned how to
baby.
drink
Kerouac.
and smoke pot.
Yeah.
So that's about.
He's
my
on the
only
road.
schooling. I just went as far as high school and then I quit.
Yeah.
Did you say in there that you grew up with no dad?
Pardon me?
You say that you grew up with no father?
Yeah.
And how did that impact your life in 6 sentences?
Good question, man.
Yeah.
I've never been asked that, but I think
Because
I
I'm
could
sure.
answer it at this age. I found my own brothers and sisters and my own fathers, meaning I found my own heroes to teach me what I had to learn and ask
Very
questions.
cool.
So you feel you overcame, but did it replace there being that type of figure in your day-to-day life in your household?
99%
Like, do you feel like
it did.
it did? Oh, yeah.
Only for the reason that I got to meet my father later on in life, and my father was a very good-looking man and played the woman thing. And, you know, all that. And he was only married like 5 times.
Only 5.
You know, kind of thing.
Wow.
And, you know, I have like 5 stepsisters and
Oh,
kind of thing.
gosh.
But I'm the only boy from that, and it's so amazing because.
You're
having-
very similar to him.
Pardon me?
You're very similar to him?
I don't know. I don't look at things like that. We don't own things that we capture and we look in the mirror about.
Okay.
You know, it's the same thing with playing an instrument. That's not mine. I learned that from something.
Let me ask the question differently. When you met your father, were you like, wow, we share in a lot of things here?
No.
Okay. That's what I'm
Not at
asking
all.
you.
It was very
None
strange.
at all.
This is very strange because there's no connection there of love or anything else. And there's so many years that have went by
Yeah.
that what's the connection here? Oh, you're my father?
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
kinda
Yeah.
thing. So,
I got you.
my mother more or less raised me. You know, it had to be mother and father, and then my stepdad also raised me, who happened to be
Yeah.
my father.
Is that a skull ring on your finger there?
Yep.
What's that about?
Keith Richards, dude.
Keith Richards, dude. He give you that ring?
No, I got one made like it. Yeah, look at all the photographs. And he also has this too.
Yeah.
Handcuffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a Keith Richards fan.
So I got another like this is a 2-part question for you. So when you picked up the drum, you said that was in the 7th or 8th grade. Would you say middle school? Did you say?
Probably the 8th grade.
Was that the drum kit, or was that just
The drum kit.
It was.
The drum
And at
kit.
that point, was that the first like musical instrument that you were trying to learn how to play?
Yeah.
Now to this day, do you play any other instruments, or is it still just?
I play the piano a little bit only when I write.
Mhm.
Basically chords and whatever I can
Cool.
tell the other players.
Yeah.
But when it came down to the drum kit, because I wanted to learn how to play drums in junior high school,
Mm-hmm.
and it just so happened, I don't know if you guys had homeroom class out here where you have to be there in the morning.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
And I figured out I don't have to go there in the morning. I'll be in first period as my first class. So, which caused me a lot of problems. Which made me
Who
late
knew?
for a lot of years because I got away with it. But it just so happened that my homeroom teacher was the music teacher of the school.
Sick.
Right?
You want to
So-
share with the class what you were doing during the time that you were supposed to be in the homeroom? Okay. As you
I
were.
was taking my time not to go to school.
Yep.
I mean, basically, good question. But anyway, so I got into band class and, did this and this and that. And there's like, however, it was 45 minutes a period or something we're playing. And he never got around to showing me what to do on drums. He'd give me a book, left, right, left, right. You've seen those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Robot.
So, man, and so I just kind of figured it out. All of a sudden, I went like, "Oh my God, you're giving me homework, but you never asked me what I'm doing or whatever." But he was always on the horn section, which gives me to this day, I hate fucking horns. Okay, all except for like a Miles Davis or McCoy China.
Miles Davis gets the pass.
He gets a pass.
Miles.
But anyway, it's so funny. So I was in the school band for like one gig, right? And I got to play the cymbals, and the timpanis, and whatever. And I went, "This is it. This is it." So I got kicked out of his class. Okay, no big deal. And here's how I got kicked out of his class. So he's teaching the trumpets and whatnot. And all of a sudden I look at my friend and I went, "I'm done."
At that
And I
point, you
went on-
already
and I
hated
went
horns
on-
then?
Huh?
You already hated horns then? Trumpet and all that?
No.
Well, what was the reason?
It's like, this guy's supposed to be teaching me something, man, and you're spending time on the horns.
Yeah.
Right? But that's what you do in an orchestra, I guess,
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I just went off on a drum. Boom, bop, boom, bop. And he goes, what are you doing? I said, "Well, you're not going to teach me how to do that." I got kicked out of his class. Years later, I'm walking down the street in San Francisco, and here's Mr. Anchor. Oh,
What up,
Michael,
Anchor?
oh my God, you've done so much for, oh my God, you're so famous now and you're so this and that. And he said, "Oh man, I'm so glad." And I says, "Not by any of your help." And I go,
It's a boot.
he goes, "Oh my God." He goes, I said, "Yeah, man, there's some things that we never finished here." He said, "Would you come in my class to teach some of my students and tell them what you did?" I said, "Only if I could tell the fucking truth, okay?" And he goes, "Well, what is that?" I said, "That you didn't teach me anything. But you taught me how to persevere." Right? And most of the stuff would come to
Hold on, what was his name again?
Mr. Anchor.
So you're bodying Mick Jagger. You're bodying Mr. Anchor. Is there anybody else on this list?
There's a whole bunch of them.
Oh, it's great.
So windmilling for days, man.
Shit.
But anyway, it's all inspiration.
Yeah.
Wait, did
know
you
what?
go teach that class?
What?
Did you go and teach in his classroom?
I
Okay,
went
yeah.
to his class and told his students what I thought about him. And I think the bottom line was it's to learn, if you don't have the right teacher and it doesn't feel right, is to don't make it stop you from persevering.
Nice.
Yeah, keep
And
on,
finding
keep
somebody
on.
that you get along with, that you hear.
Yeah.
Because we don't all hear the same.
Yeah. I like that.
Well put.
I got
What do you
that.
Well
got
put.
inside of you here?
Well, I
Phall
got.
Roots.
I was kicked out of third grade music class too. So
In every other class, yeah.
yeah, I just drew too much attention. You know what I mean? But we're showmen, right? I thought your whole starting out with the jam scene, which is is my scene. So I'm heavily into the jam scene. So once you said that, I was pretty stoked on that. You know, you're at the beginning of the jam scene era. I mean, we're talking like the 60s and coming from San Francisco. But I want to fast forward. We're going to go back, but 1996, you're in Atlanta for Halloween. With so I'm driving down the road and I hear a Fish recording from Halloween 1996 and they're doing Talking Heads Remaining Light. But you're in the band, you're sitting in that night in 96 and it said Michael Carabello.
Oh,
it's like the most epic Fish shows ever.
Where, in Atlanta?
Well, I thought it was in Atlanta. It was it was Halloween.
Fish?
No, but I know those guys.
Oh, well, it said you just said Michael Carabello was on. I swear to God, it said Michael Carabello of Santana. You didn't play with those guys.
With Fish?
Yeah.
I sat in with them in Marin County.
Okay, well,
that was California.
All right, that wasn't Halloween though. Oh,
there's also that's so funny, man. Not to interrupt you.
There's
a Michael Carabello impersonator.
Oh.
Come on.
Maybe that's who it is.
Can you imagine being that big? You have people that impersonate who you are. Does he look like you?
You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this.
Let me love it.
I got a moment.
You got a moment.
He probably has an
So
Instagram.
watch this. There's this guy that was going around, and Miles Davis told me this. There's a guy that's going around that's saying he's you.
Wow.
Miles went up to him and says, "Really?" He said, "I'm not. You're not Michael Carabello. I know who Michael Carabello is, right?" So it comes out this guy ended up recording with John Lennon.
No!
Right.
No, he didn't.
Under your name.
Dude,
under
man.
your name.
Under my name.
Playing the same fucking
getting
instrument.
those checks?
No
and
way.
Somebody called me and said, "There's this guy going around New York saying he's you."
Wow.
And I swear, man,
Did he even, was his name like Michael Carabella?
Yep.
Listen to me. So there's
so there
No,
was
no,
an
no.
impersonator that was playing
it's an
conga drums.
impersonator.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he played with John Lennon.
Dude,
Wow.
your impersonator
killed.
recorded with John Lennon under
The night
your
before he
name.
got killed.
Do you imagine that? He banked cake
And Miles
off your
Davis told me
name.
This story, dude.
And Miles Davis tells you that. Did you actually get credits on the song? Like you getting no royalties there?
Oh, that's
Hey,
crazy.
John Lennon had a couple of different bands when he lived.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
mostly
yeah.
jam bands.
Whatever.
But this
That's
guy
cool. The jam.
went under-
We're in the jam.
saying that. Wow. And it wasn't the first time I heard it. I heard it from a few people. I wanted to meet him so bad.
It's
Ryan,
50.
you got a
One
few
like-
questions?
Pardon me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like 50 other people that I am very excited that you've spent time with, but I'd like to hear how it is that your life crossed paths with Eric Clapton.
Crossroads.
Back in the day when we were doing, I guess we were doing Abraxas or the third album in Santana. There
Yep.
was a recording studio in San Francisco called Wally Hyder's. And it was one of the best, one of the good studios in San Francisco. We were recording at the same time. Crosby, Stills, and Nash were recording there, and the Jefferson Airplane.
Sweet.
So you took like Paul. I can't think of his last name. This is embarrassing.
It's okay to be embarrassed. It's a unique emotion. It doesn't happen often enough. When it does, it's
Anyway,
like,
the
what a
guitar player in the Jefferson Airplane, and
The
David
Yoma
Crosby
Kokkonen?
was there, and Neil Young was there, and later on Eric Clapton
hanging.
came in. But Eric Clapton had just played in Oakland with Derek and the Dominoes, and somehow Neil Sean ended up at that gig. Okay, and Eric had asked, so I've heard, for Neil to join the band, and Neil said, "Sorry, I just took a gig with Santana." Wow. Right. So anyway, the next night after that, Eric came down and jammed with David Crosby and Neil Young and them, and I happened to be on a couple of songs that they were jamming in because we were in studios next to one another. So,
Sweet.
Wow.
I still have the recording. Yeah,
That's
man.
wonderful.
Nice.
But that's what we did back then. It's not like anything that's changed now.
Yeah.
People record in their house, but if you were in a studio back then, there was a couple of other bands in there, and that's how the whole wrecking
Just hanging out. Yeah.
thing was about.
Yeah.
You know who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Wow. I love painting this picture inside of my brain of you, Crosby, Neil Young, Eric Clapton. Yeah, that's wonderful. What else you got in you? You got a question there? Burger Snaps.
Burger.
Nice to see you. You look fantastic.
Nice to meet you, first
Yeah.
off.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pull that mic a little closer to your beautiful face. There you go.
Here it is.
Berg.
When you were on the road, and then after you finished your tour, and would you ever get like the tour blues?
No.
No. Happy to
Wait
be
get
home.
back out there.
You just couldn't wait to get back out.
No, yeah, because at that point, people don't realize this. People in the entertainment business and athletes also, and I will hopefully actors. You try so hard to be what you're doing well, which is your gift. Right. It doesn't relate into a relationship or reality as being a human being. And I know this sounds weird.
Yeah.
No,
but
it
it's
sounds
like,
very accurate.
Why do I have to go to therapy? Why do I not think like you? Why do I have to explain that the only time I could work is from 1 a.m. until 5 a.m.?
Right.
Right. And I just, that's just the way that you tick, kind of thing. So it's very hard to come off the road and try to jump back into a family.
It's
or
the dichotomy
being a father,
is
or
obnoxious.
being a father or something like that. And I got to tell you, honestly, that's why these guys are out there on the road. Because they have such a difficult time. And only the Rolling Stones and a few other people, like Paul McCartney and a few other, and the Grateful Dead,
Bring their family.
bring their families on the road with them. So they're used to living that road life. But to answer your question, it's harder than it looks.
Right. I can only imagine.
So it's hard, more so when you get home. You're like, I got to get out of here. I'm this road animal.
Well, you just don't know how to relate to it.
Yeah.
It takes you.
What is
I
this?
remember going to Kuala Lumpur, and it took us 2 days to get there. You lose time or whatever, and got there. We did like a gig. We did a gig or two, and came back, and I didn't even know where we were by the time I landed in San Francisco. It took me 3 weeks to get back to normality, if that's a word.
Yeah, no, that's a word
You're
in
all
my
over the
world.
place, man.
Yeah. New town every night.
It's hard, man. It's harder than most people think. I don't recommend it to anybody.
I taste it in my life, not to the extent of months on the road, but I know that there's after weeks touring with the band or just I'm traveling pretty much every week to go speak to audiences, and there's this insane imbalance, the difference of being out there and being in the spotlight and everybody loves you and you're taking pictures and all these things are happening, and then you go back home and you're like, hey, what's up, family? Let's have some dinner and vacuum the rug. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot on the mind. You're like, oh,
right.
God,
My first wife would say, garbage.
Yeah.
And I'm going, what? She goes, take out the garbage. Kind of thing. So you just have to. You got to go back into that life, man. And,
Isn't that room service?
And you really don't know how to do it. You really don't know how to do it for 3 weeks, and then, oh God, man, I'm leaving tomorrow. Can't wait, kind of thing. But
you're like, yep, I'm out.
It's hard to relate, man. It's really hard to relate, and there's some people that could do it, and there's some that can't. You sign up for that, man.
Yep.
And you don't really realize it till later.
A couple things we need to touch on here. First,
no way.
Yes. Who's your manager?
Oh, thank you so much. Rita Gentry. And
Hi, Rita.
Hi, Rita.
Rita Gentry was Bill Graham's right hand.
Bill Graham.
Grab that book off the floor
Could you
there.
Get that book off the floor and show that.
And hand that over to Johnny.
Yeah. Rita Gentry worked for BGP. Okay, and one of the things. People don't realize, a lot of people say, oh, Bill Graham was just
higher.
Yeah. You're
Look
good.
at that guy.
Good.
Yeah.
I got a picture of Bill Graham right in my living room. It's
Thank
Bill
you.
Graham, Jerry, and Bobby. They're walking up stage at Shoreline or something like that.
Wow.
But it's
Ready?
right in my living room.
Yeah, no, we're
Okay,
good. We're good.
So anyway, Rita is my manager. Rita used to work for Bill Graham, BGP. his right hand, one of the right hand women. She managed Carlos for some years. Also, managed Commander Cody, I think, and a few other people. This is like something that it's a hard business to be in.
Yeah.
And it's not about being nice, because you can be as nice as you want. You can be as nice as you want.
Gotta get that
Yeah, man.
cash.
I mean, you can be as nice as you want, even as a football player, man. But when you go out there to kill somebody.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna lose your job if you don't.
Right.
Exactly.
So, Rita stopped working for Carlos, and we were getting ready to do Santana 4 that came out, and Rita got laid off, and they got somebody else to her part. I figured, you know what? I like her, man. I think I want her for my manager, man. It's like right the fact. We come to find out that I used to hang out with her cousins in high school.
Oh,
I
boy.
didn't know it, man.
You can't share those stories.
Yeah, but anyway, she's come out with this book, and it's called Bill Graham's on the cover, and it says "Before I Forget," and it's everybody that worked for Bill Graham in that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's-
And there's endless quotes in there.
What was your Bill Graham?
I gotta read that
moment?
book. Yeah.
So that
I
whole
said I gotta
book,
read that book.
the whole book is filled with stories about people's individual Bill Graham moments. And you have one in there.
Yeah, I'm in there.
Yeah,
It's 2
that is a
pages.
good one.
Sick.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for that. She's I have her as she's my manager.
Yeah.
Personal
And a
manager,
wonderful human.
And another fellow named Al Carlos Hernandez, who's my PR guy.
Yeah.
Who helps me do all this kind of stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then
I spoke with Rita to establish this situation here, and we were just like buddies right away. Yeah. We were Rita.
Like
It was all
got
rainbows and
Rita.
bunnies.
We had a vibe.
She's a trip. I mean, she's worked with Bob Dylan and everybody. I mean, it just goes down the line. But and another gentleman, Al Carlos Hernandez, who's my PR guy, and then I just signed with this distribution company named A-Train by a gentleman named Al
Evers. Yeah.
So getting ready to do Primitive Medicine.
So let's look at that Primitive Medicine album here. Johnny, grab this thing here and bring it on up to the camera, the one that's on the table, because I think the package off it. Yeah. Now tell us about this album. It's the new Michael Carabello album.
This
right?
is a Primitive Medicine Volume 2. There's a Primitive Medicine Volume 1.
It would be interesting if you started with Volume 2. I'd be into it.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyway, there's some songs on here called Soul Sauce, which is Carl Perazzo, timbale player who I've known since he was 8 years old. He plays with Carlos now. And my bass player, Roger Kimball, and my little cousin named Eric Peralta that plays piano.
That's really
kind of thing. So we just, it's a...
What's the vibe of the album? What's the genre first here?
Well,
is this the one they squeeze you into, Latin rock?
No, here's the thing. Here's where you make a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just put out...
I'm only human, Michael.
I just put out a teaser. You know how they put out
A teaser, yeah. Whoever they are, they're
I
putting
didn't
those things
know.
out.
I didn't want to go one direction.
Yeah.
So I put some appetizers out. And there are different styles of music. One's a song by Cal Jader called Wachiwata, and it's called Soul Sauce. Another one is called Thoughts that myself and Roger Kimball, the bass player, and Carlos wrote.
Oh.
So there's just 3 of us on that. It's called Thoughts. And then the other one is called Reggae Blues. And, you know, I come from a school of Paul Butterfield, believe it or not, man. And the whole connection with
And the
Carlos.
School of the Streets, yes.
Yeah. And, you know, the whole Carlos thing is because of the Paul Butterfield thing, the whole blues thing also. But I've met some great harmonica players throughout that. Lee Oscar being one of them, who I worked with, that used to play with War.
Wow.
But Charlie Musselwhite is like one of my favorites, man. So I got Charlie to play on a song called Reggae Blues. So a friend of mine, Paul Pesco, great guitar player that's played with the Eurythmics and Just about everybody. Mariah
Just
Carey.
dropping all the names.
Dropping all the names. And,
Mariah Carey.
a girl named Rachel Wilcox that did all the hand
boring
clapping
life.
and whatnot.
Yep.
That's from Cedar Street. But this was just a tease to throw something out there because I didn't want to fall down one place and just do all of that. So I wanted to see what people liked.
Like a collective of
So this album is out in the world now. This is available for human consumption.
You can go on Spotify.
Yeah.
You can go to Dino Records. Thank you, Sally.
hey.
I know.
Right?
That's some local.
And it's just and Mel's
Yeah.
in Amesbury.
There you go.
Yeah.
Spotify, Michael Carabello,
Yeah.
Primitive Medicine Volume 2.
Right.
Now, let's get ahead of this. You're amidst recording a third volume for Primitive Medicine.
Right.
And as I understand, there's this incredibly special guest on there. Is that true?
Yeah.
Are you going to tell us who that
Sean's
is?
one of them
Yeah.
from Germany. I
Wow.
call him Journey. I call him Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Jeremy
Just
from
because I
Journey.
can.
People love Journey. They can hardly
Yeah,
handle
yeah.
themselves when those songs come on.
Charlie Musselwhite is on it again.
Yep.
Paul Pesco's on it again. Roger Kimball's on it again. Can't remember a couple of singers.
Big love to
But
those
we're
singers.
we're not done with it yet. Carl Perazzo's on it again, the timbale player.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see where it goes, but it'll probably come out probably April of next year.
April 2024, Volume 3. But for now, focus on Volume 1 and Volume 2, Spotify, Michael Carabello, Primitive Medicine. How's that? You like
Volume
that?
1
Primitive.
and Volume 2.
That's right. I don't know why I'm asking this. I think it's just because you probably told me to ask you this. But who is Paul Butterfield?
Oh my God! You don't know who Paul Butterfield
Ah,
is?
I mean, you
Tell
just
us.
told me to ask
You?
that, so I didn't even think about
Paul
it.
Butterfield.
know Paul
is
Butterfield.
blues.
Oh man!
Honesty is the king.
Paul Butterfield
confidence
is
is.
a blues harmonica player.
Oh my
had
God,
a
it's me.
band with Michael Bloomfield and Elvin Bishop.
I'm sorry,
Was it
Paul.
Al Cooper?
They were called the Three
I
Beatles.
totally did.
There's a lot to know out there.
They did a song. They did a song called East West, which didn't have a bridge. That went on forever. And I gotta say that was one of my inspirations because it went on forever. And if you
Jam.
hear it, you look it up on Spotify. East West, Paul Butterfield. That's who that was. Harmonica player.
Bridgeless
People
Road.
People don't realize that I come from a blues background.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though I'm a percussionist or whatever,
Yeah.
the blues are what turned me on. I turned the blues into something
Yeah.
else. I made the
Yeah, you
conga
did.
drum a part of rock and roll
Right on.
as an instrument.
Yeah.
It wasn't used in rock and roll before.
Only mentioned in the intro was that you're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Michael here is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's big.
How does that happen? What?
Right. I don't know either.
I'm not in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the title? Like, why are you in there?
I think it was because Santana was just such a different group,
Yeah.
and most people didn't know what timbales were or congas were, and it came out of a blues group. And we just did something different that nobody had
cool
done
stuff.
before
Yeah.
on purpose.
On
Yeah.
purpose.
You know what I mean?
Stra-
They put you in
Strategies.
as a blues band or a jam band?
It was a blues band
Mm.
that didn't know how to go to a bridge.
Excuse me.
There it is.
I mean,
The
so
key
I
to
remember,
success.
I remember us auditioning with Chet Helms at the Avalon back then, which were the Fillmore days and whatnot.
Wow. He's
Um,
like, where's
we
this
did an
going?
audition, and the guy says, "That's it? Don't you guys have a bridge?" And we go, "Isn't that the Golden Gate Bridge?" We didn't know what a bridge was, or did we care? So we were a jam band. You're totally correct, and we made songs out of those,
Cool.
you know, kind of thing. So that was the whole writing. Really cool.
Wow. I like
Was
it.
there anybody that you kind of wish you could have got to work with that's no longer with us or with us still?
With us, probably Steve Winwood,
Okay.
So
What
Stevie
is it about
Winwood
Steve
once.
Winwood that makes you want to work with him?
because Steve Winwood, nobody knows this man, but he loves Latin music.
He does. He doesn't tell anyone. He told you.
No. You listen to some of his stuff.
Yeah.
And you go way back. I mean, here's the guy that started.
He was like 16, wasn't he?
Cream and all those things, man. I mean, come on.
The
man.
rock star.
But think about it. You know that song that he does? Think about it. It's all congas in the middle.
Yeah.
And all through it. But somebody told me, Wilfredo Reyes, was one of his drummers, said, "Man, you have no idea. This guy's got a Latin collection that you would not believe."
Yeah.
Did you hit up Steve Winwood and say, "Let's make some music"?
Yeah.
You're not that
dude.
guy.
No, I'm not that guy.
You
I
wait
saw
for it
Stevie
to come
Winwood
to you,
once.
and when it does, most often
be
you don't
magic.
even return
Yeah.
the call.
Yeah.
Depends.
Depends. That's it.
I mean, it's just a,
Mick, leave me alone.
You go into studio work not knowing what you're ever going to get. I didn't want to become a session guy.
Yeah.
And I
No,
did
I
it.
gotcha.
I did it for a while in
That's
LA,
not the
and
goal.
it's the most boringest thing in the world,
like-
man.
Yeah.
Hired gun
I
status.
can't be myself.
Yes. Michael, do this.
Not.
I will leave.
What you want?
I know.
Scott, you want to hop in
hop
up
in?
here? I know you got some questions in you. Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna just sit here and keep
I
listening.
buy
to
pot
this.
from your shop.
You do.
Michael
You do.
Carabello buys his pot from CNA,
CNA
stores.
stores.
in
CNA.
Amesbury, Massachusetts.
That's awesome. I've just had a great time sitting here listening to you. You tell amazing stories with amazing emotion behind them, so that makes them very interesting and very easy to digest. I could
I got
relate.
more.
I could relate. I know you do. So there were so many
For
things that I could relate to
days.
while you were talking, like the music class. But I was kind of the exact opposite. Is that I had a music teacher in high school. He gave me the only passing grade in high school, and I can't read a lick of music. And he concert band. I did the chimey thing, and the triangle and all that. And I think I got the bass drum in marching band, Right. And but I skipped every class, and I went to the music room and would play the drums. And I'd have my Walkman on playing,
Wow.
Dokken and Judas Priest and all the 80s,
Dokken,
rock and roll stuff, and beating the hell out of his drum set. And he would come in and he'd give me little pointers.
George Lynch.
And he just saw the heart and the passion. He couldn't trust me to count hash marks because I can't count either. Not formally trained.
Not even regular numbers.
No. Yeah. Well, ask my crew. They'll
gets
tell you
up
my math is
right
awful.
around 4.
That's it. I lose it.
What's a nickel bag weigh?
Is that an eighth? That's 3.5.
No way, dude. Nickel bag of funk, baby.
As much as you can with one hand.
Okay, watch this. Before these guys take you down anymore, let me tell you something.
That's right.
As long as you come back in on the one, wherever the fuck that might be, you're okay.
Yeah, but you feel that. You feel that. So
Just
that's
come back on the one.
I'm with you.
That-
And
so-
if you don't,
so-
I
doesn't
feel
matter what
that.
happens in
And I
between.
hear that, and I really think, we had talked a little bit before the show about you and teaching. I think that's an incredibly valuable lesson. So I played, with a bunch of people over my life, nothing like you, just local stuff, doing, and never being myself.
Right.
Always playing what I thought other people needed me to be. And so I walked away from all that in 2014, and I just stayed in that basement I showed you.
Yeah.
And I learned who I was. And I play better now, and now the music means it's a religion. It means something, and it means how you deal with other people and how you interact, and it's being supportive when that person needs you to be supportive, and it's being able to stay back when you need to stay back.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's-
I'll tell you something.
And so much more.
If you got a moment, if I could
Tell
take
it.
a moment of this.
take this moment.
I'm a teacher that I teach. I don't do it, even though, I gave you that flyer. I teach in Amesbury and stuff, but I don't take a whole bunch of students on for the simple reason that I don't want to spend my time teaching. I want to give advice.
Yeah.
I would say, right?
Yeah.
And there's been so
To the
many
right people.
You've seen a lot of people come from, and I'm going to say this, from Haitian people all the way to Africa to Latin American companies that teach these, I want to be a drummer. And man, I'm telling you, you can get 3 dogs together to do this, and it's going to sound like, whoa, man, that sounds great. This is what they do when they give lessons.
Yeah.
They give the same beat to everybody, and all of a sudden you think you're doing something. You're doing something in a community that sounds louder is all. But they're taking your money, dude. Right? So I'm
You better give me
totally
that
against
money.
that.
Hey.
So you know,
So wait a minute. My whole thing is about when I teach, I become the student because I have to figure out why you're not hearing it. Okay, and I've gotten a lot of things. Well, I'm not brown. I'm not, I don't have the rhythm and stuff. I'm going, dude, man, or girl, can you brush your teeth? Yeah, well, you got rhythm. Can we move on here now? So it basically comes down to I have to be the therapist to figure out why you're not hearing it. So this is what I do in my lessons. I turn off the light. And I tell my students, close your eyes and just play. Because the first thing all of us here, and aliens and whatnot, the first thing you heard before you came out of the womb was your mom's heartbeat.
yeah.
That's your clock, man. And you can't tell me why you don't hear that. You see all these deadheads that dance. Where's the one at? Everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's kind of what you want to hear. But if you can do this, you can play. And if you can't do that, I have to know why you're not hearing it that way. So I'm not a babysitter, man. I just want to tell you, man, why you're not hearing it. And I got to tell you, and you women are going to love this, 80% of women get it more before guys get it to play rhythm stuff. And it's just because of Mother Nature. They have that whole rhythm thing with the heartbeat. But that's part of the teaching thing. It's very important that, even these guys that go to Berkeley or Juilliard or whatever, it's like, just learn a little bit, man, because you're going to get to a point where you can't play unless you have this in front of you. How do you play the color red?
Well, how do you get along with one another, right? I think that's the bottom line as a musician is that I'm listening.
But you can't get too much knowledge how to just play in this
Don't be
key all the
over
time.
Technical.
You know what I mean? It's like that's
It's
what it says
art.
on the thing. Can you make a mistake? It might really go into this composition.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do that because it's a mistake. Who said?
Yeah.
So you
I have
to
a
be
song that changes
rebellious,
keys. In the middle of the song, it just changes keys. But it works, like you're saying.
Yeah. So I think we've covered everything that you and I discussed today, right?
Okay.
You guys feel good? Anyone have his questions they're itching to asking him, Scott? You got something
I
in
just
you
want
here?
to thank you again for
Thank you.
pointing
He
those things out.
shaved like he
I
usually
think-
doesn't trim up the top part of the
I
beard.
treated it all up.
He like
actually.
cleaned himself up for you, Michael.
I think I just think that's
He did.
incredibly important. I think we get caught up in the paradiddles and the rudiments and all of those things and I'm not saying that those aren't worthwhile lessons, but I think the heart and soul. And if you don't learn the heart and soul, you're missing what music is.
Okay, well, watch this. Give me one more second.
That's
I
why
won't go
not,
further.
man.
But wait a minute. I
What
won't
you
go any
got?
further,
Let's
I
hear it.
promise, man.
I'm ready
This
to
whole
watch it, Mikey.
This whole technology thing has thrown the gift of creativity
Quantize.
off, man. And now you are like somebody putting somebody down to drink water like this because you have to use that instrument, right? So myself, for years, I've been using the acoustic instrument and the technology. And I'm able to take out the technology and make it sound like it's real because it's not up there in front.
So you're comfortable with reality?
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference.
The difference is
There's
reality,
this-
but these
there's this
things are just
mask
like,
in between
you're
now
a
and the digital
percussionist,
world.
You know that you
Yeah.
play a lot of little instruments that
Yeah.
make sounds and stuff. That's what technology is. It's not the main instrument.
Yeah.
These are things that let me put a little bit of cha-cha, 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 cha-cha in it. Oh, let me put a little bit of brush strokes in it. And you put all that shit in there so you can hear it. You know, it's not like, oh, that doesn't work here. Fuck you know.
It adds a mood like a spice
I'm so
or
sorry,
something.
but that's what it is. I mean, you have to use those things because that's what it is nowadays, you know? Don't try to compete what's already been done because you're like 3 years behind already. Because you're listening to something that was worked on 3 years ago. And now it's finally out.
It's a new album.
Yeah, so I try to use players.
A lot of people are tired of it already.
primitive medicine thing together, use different players to bring something else to the table.
Yeah.
I challenge myself, man. It's boring the other way.
What's that jacket you're wearing, Michael?
Oh, this is from last year on tour.
Last year you were on tour with who? Santana and Earth, Wind, and
Earth,
Fua.
Wind, and Fire.
Santana and Earth, Wind, and Fire 2022 tour. What was that all about? Where'd that hit?
Just out on
Planet
tour.
Earth. Yeah.
Huh?
Where did that tour go?
They went all over when they came back east. Carlos calls me every couple of years or whatever when they're back here to go play like 5 or 6 gigs with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But, again, me and Carlos started that band. I mean,
I
that's
know.
what that was, man. And him and his wife are
Nice work.
my daughter's godfather and godmother.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's
the
a
true
family
connection. It's a family thing there.
And our daughters hang out.
So you would say you love Carlos Santana?
Love?
Yeah.
No, he's my family.
My family. It's even beyond.
Bam.
That's great to hear. After all
So
these
we
years.
still work together and hang out and stuff like that. But like I said, I'm able to go out every couple of years with him and do that. So
Yeah, I've seen
I'm
you
still
pop
a
up
part
on some shows.
of him, not so much the band.
Right.
But and we still write together and we still talk and all that kind of stuff.
So, one more time. Did we miss anything? Is there anything that you feel that I've overlooked? Do you want people to find you out there in the social media world? Do you want no connection to humans?
You can go to my webpage.
What's that?
MCARR. No, I'm sorry. Wrong. MCARRABELLO.com.
Oh my gosh.
RABELLO.com.
mcarabello.com. People can spell.
Carabello.
Yeah.
A fair
I
amount of
can't,
them.
but-
I know that you can't. He spelled his own name wrong.
Give him a week. He's gonna have an Instagram, and it'll be his name with no gimmicks.
Yeah, they were
There it
talking about
is.
that.
Real
Yeah.
name, no gimmicks. We'll set it up for you and then hand it off. So I love you for being here. I really appreciate you. I know it takes effort to get out of your house and move your body to this location.
No, I'm kind of an introvert. I just is like like I give lessons. I have a studio and whatever, and people recognize me. They recognize me, but I'm so glad it never went further than that.
Yeah,
It's a hard life to live.
it is.
It's really a hard life to live. I mean, me and you met before we even did this.
Yeah. I don't
I
know how we
remember
met, but
meeting
we learned
It
that
was down at
we've
the
met.
cannery.
It was at the tannery.
It was at the
That's what it
tannery.
was.
You were walking around down there or something. Somebody told me who you were.
What are you doing walking around? Yeah. Well, I'm glad that this has happened to you.
Well, thank you.
I like you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. It's been a good time.
Do some more.
Yeah. Scott Winters from CNA Stores is in the room. We love you, Scott.
Thanks for having me.
Yes,
And
Scott.
we love
Fantastic.
CNA Stores.
CNA.
You know that's the truth. Phall Roots is here. We love you.
Roots.
Let's get the rest of switch that to one. Get the rest of the crew over here. Jonny Deups is in the room.
The
and
Deups.
Burger Snaps. Get
The
good and
Burger.
low. Now stay here. Everybody. Let's see. Johnny's head's cut out of this thing.
Johnny
Bend down
in.
low. Bend down low.
Yeah, that's
Yo.
right.
Thanks for watching the show, yo. Yeah.